Cool.
I should just ask stuff about coffee. There you go.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so
Okay.
would you say you're a regular coffee drinker, frequent?
I mean,
Not at all.
daily basis, pretty much.
Daily
but-
basis to get you up in the morning.
Yeah, but sometimes I will go for a tea because it goes right through me.
So true. And coffees, do you prefer to go to an actual cafe, get it done professionally, or are you just a grab and go from the nearest supermarket?
I mean, I prefer to get one at Berries in Henley. There you go. Prefer to get one there and prefer to go to cafes and stuff, but if money's a bit tight, just get one at home.
Do you think coffees are getting a bit expensive these days?
Oh my god, insane.
I mean,
Insane.
Like, we're talking like 3-4 quid for
Mm.
a cappuccino latte.
Exactly, it's like I could make that at home and it would cost me about 50p. So,
But then it's again, it's the service, it's the,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Do you think in coffee shops, I think about this a lot, the difference between how people act in coffee shops compared to restaurants is so different?
In what way?
In the behaviour of people, you know.
Like customers or staff?
Customers, like, I understand there are two
Yeah.
settings, one's very formal, one's very
Yeah.
casual, but I feel like people often forget that there's still health and
yeah.
safety to be kept in, you know, in
Oh, yeah,
consideration and stuff.
100%.
Do you find that as well?
I feel like people are a bit ruder in coffee shops, to be fair. I feel bad for coffee shop staff because I feel like people going into coffee shops, it's normally the morning, they're in a rush, they're trying to get somewhere, they've got places
Yeah.
to be, and also they haven't had their coffee yet, which is exactly why they're in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And they're just taking it out on the staff, whereas in restaurants I think people have a bit more respect for them.
Yeah, and I find that they think because it's a more laid back, casual setting,
Mm.
they feel like some like rules and like genuine like morals and like manners as well. It's like you wouldn't go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
order a couple drinks. I think because it's mainly drinks that are served, I think
Yeah.
they forget that there's other elements to these places. Like quite often in coffee shops, you'll see people like come in, order 2 coffees, and
Yeah.
unpack a whole lunchbox.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't go into a
You wouldn't
restaurant.
go to a restaurant and start, well, I mean, I've seen people do it, but
Yeah.
you're less likely to.
because
But
that's
it's
not the main focus.
But they do serve food at all these places, and it's like,
It's a bit rude.
yeah,
and I
you-
feel like
it's not allowed in most places.
it's health and
policy.
safety as well. I feel like
Mm.
people will leave a coffee shop in such a mess as
yeah,
well.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who's worked there, the food on the floor,
Yeah.
it's just like there's no...
I think
no-
people treat it more like a sort of like grab and go kind of place, and
And I
it's
think-
more like rushed, and because people who are going to coffee shops have places to be, or they're with kids, which is another thing. I
Yeah.
think you see more kids in coffee shops than you do in restaurants because it's a more casual setting.
100%.
So it's fine.
And I think if we like really weigh it up, like restaurants, it's a high earning business.
Yeah.
Coffee shops, it's very small, lower price things like
Yeah.
sandwiches,
Yeah, yeah,
drinks
yeah.
that you grab.
Mm.
So the intake of a coffee shop, while it might be busy or busier
Yeah.
than a restaurant, it's not
It's
bringing
not
in
earning as much.
that income.
Yeah.
So quite often if you're working as a barista or
Yeah.
you're working as wait staff in a coffee shop, unless it's
Mm.
really high end in like a big chain, you're
Yeah.
not going to get paid as much as someone who's working in a restaurant. And yet sometimes I feel that people who work in these smaller places have to do a lot more work
They do.
because they're quite often understaffed
Yeah.
and there's lots of people that
Also,
come
these
in.
places are tiny as well.
Yeah.
These coffee shops are tiny, but they're packed.
Yeah.
And it's like I think with a restaurant, working in a kitchen or something like that, it's a lot easier because you're not in front of everyone all the time.
Yeah.
These people in coffee shops, they are front of house always,
Yeah.
and in a tiny little like shop,
There's not
packed with kids,
yeah.
packed with like dogs, like screaming babies.
Not
stuff like that.
often is there an area in coffee shops for staff other than like in the kitchen,
Yeah.
which can be just as manic.
Yeah.
There's not an area, you're in front of these people
Yeah.
all the time. Where I feel like in restaurants there's a lot more opportunity to step outside,
Yeah.
take those moments. You're
Yeah.
not wanted and needed
Also,
all
breaks
the
are
time.
easier. Breaks are so much easier. Whereas, like, because at restaurants, you know when you're going to be busy.
Yeah.
Whereas coffee shops, someone could pop for a coffee at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like people won't just like usually people plan stuff out.
Yeah.
Like they'll plan to go to a restaurant. If you're walking past coffee, you're like, oh, let me just grab a coffee.
Yeah.
It literally depends on the day, weather, and even like the
Yeah.
weather. If it's raining, it's like it's raining. Maybe we're not going to get a lot of people coming in because it's
Yeah.
such terrible weather. But then there's some people that are out. It starts raining. We want to get into
Yeah,
shelter, and then it's
exactly.
busy. It's so hard.
You
to
can't tell because at restaurants it's like meal times. You know it's going to be busy at certain points.
And there's a lot of reservation work. I mean,
yeah.
you get reservations in coffee shops. Like you'd be
And I
surprised.
think, but also you can tell like restaurants are a lot more weather dependent because I think coffee is like a staple in everyone's day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
Eating out isn't at all.
Yeah.
And like, especially a lot of like pubs and stuff are very weather dependent, and you know what it's going to be like. Whereas, yeah, like you said, coffee shops.
Everyone drinks coffee. If you caffeine's addictive. If you want a coffee, you're gonna go get a coffee, rain or shine. Like it's got to happen. And I also feel like that fast-paced environment is very like it's just very overwhelming, and it's like you just can't control it. And it's like it's literally run in, run out. You get takeaway orders as well. You have people come in and expect their coffee immediately.
Yeah.
And it's. If you're at a restaurant, you're more willing to sit, wait.
If
you're at a coffee shop...
Coffee shops are treated more like fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
When they're not. It's like, you've got to sit there and these baristas, there's like 2 working, and they've got to make all of these coffee orders.
Run them,
there,
and
like,
then someone wants a
mine?
toasty, you know...
And then it's like, it just throws everything off, and then people just don't really respect the fact that it takes time.
Yeah, here's a story and a half for you.
Yeah.
When I was working, it was the 2 minutes of silence.
Yeah.
And obviously, to show respect, we stopped what we were doing and stood in silence for two minutes.
Yeah.
And we had a complaint and an email of a woman who had basically, after 2 minutes silence, she'd proper had a go at us, and an email asking for a refund.
Whoa.
Because she couldn't wait the 2 minutes through the 2 minutes of silence. And it's like, she was sending the email, I was already running late. If you're running late, say if you've got to go to the theatre, and you want to go grab dinner afterwards. If you didn't have enough time, if you're running late, you'd probably think, forget it, we don't have time, we're not going to have time to eat, we're not going to have time to get seated. Or you ring up and you go, is it busy, is it rubbish? People come into coffee shops, expect it to be instant, and then get angry when it's not. It's like, it's not that simple. If you want an instant coffee, go home and put a coffee machine on.
It's a staple thing for everyone's day, but going and getting a coffee is not.
Yes.
Like, I don't understand when people are like, oh, I was in a rush. Don't have it. Don't have coffee then. You can... All workplaces have coffee, realistically.
And I feel like...
most homes, if you're a coffee drinker, you've got coffee at home, you've got coffee at work.
Like, and I feel like people don't actually respect the art of making this coffee because there's so many little intricate things that people don't understand. It is not just pouring milk into it. It's like, if someone wants an extra hot latte... If I've got a milk jug and half of it's full and it can do 3 coffees, if someone wants an extra hot latte then and there, I'll steam the milk.
Camera's turned off. To be fair, I think you might need to wrap it up because I don't know how much my SD card can hold. George, you might want to wrap it up there.
Yeah, it's fine, let's put it there.
Wait, let's just turn mine off quickly.